Greetings troopers, welcome to the fourth video in a series of videos informing you about the many branches of the Imperial Trooper Corps or army within the Galactic Empire. In this video we will be looking at not one but two branches of the Trooper Corps today, the Stormtroopers or Mudtroopers and the Coastal Defender Stormtroopers or Shoretroopers as they are also known. We will be looking into the roles they have, what part they play in a battlefield and how they contribute to the Empire as part of their job. This video is a continuation of my previous video, which talked about Jump Troopers and what role they have and how they also contribute to the Empire. So I highly recommend you go and check out that video if you haven't. But with that, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy Empire content or just Star Wars content in general, and maybe feel free to share this video with other like-minded Star Wars fans to show your allegiance to the Empire. But without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off, I'm going to talk about the Swamp Troopers first. Now I should state that the Stormtroopers or Mudtroopers are a branch of the Imperial Armada which don't exactly fall under the Trooper Corps, as they are a specialised unit conceived for a certain purpose, meaning they exist outside of its jurisdiction. That being said, they are still troopers and I'm still going to talk about them because I want to. The Stormtroopers' origin can be traced back to the Galactic Republic era, where they were a relatively unknown clone detachment of the 224th Clone Division and were called the Mudjumpers, and throughout the Clone Wars they were responsible for the defence of Mimban alongside the 501st with the help of the natives against the separatist forces which tried to occupy the planet at the time. After the reformation of the Republic into the Empire, the Swamp Troopers returned to Mimban not as the 224th Clone Division, but instead as the 224th Imperial Armoured Division, where they began the siege and occupation of the planet for its resources. Swamp Troopers are a very tactical force that utilise trench warfare and more traditional ways of assaulting enemies on a large-scale front such as the Mimban Siege. You may notice that their armour differs from traditional Stormtrooper armour, as it is suited for the conditions that Swamp Troopers find themselves in. The conditions of Mimban are of course very swampy, muddy and wet with plenty of rough and hazardous terrain to traverse. The armour also functions as a respirator, allowing the wearer to breathe in this hazardous environment, as it filters out any deadly toxic materials that may be in the Mimban air. This is done by two tubes which run behind their helmet and connect to their armour, so that as air travels through them, the toxins are filtered out before they reach the helmet. They also wear goggles for eye protection, and the whole suit keeps the wearer's body temperature regulated, as conditions tend to shift on Mimban rapidly, especially during intense combat scenarios. The armour they wear is similar to Imperial tank troopers and the battle armour that Imperial officers wear, as it comes with two shin guards, a chest piece, shoulder pads, bicep pads and the helmet. Overall, the armour they wear does not offer the same luxuries that traditional trooper armour does, such as built-in tech like HUDs, polarisation, seeing through smoke, wearer condition and a connection to the holonet, but it is far more comfortable and far more versatile when it comes to suiting its purpose, which is protecting the wearer from Mimban's conditions. Now the Swamp Troopers are a very fierce fighting force that, as said before, are very tactical and very skilled when performing large-scale assaults which require many troopers. They utilise traditional arts of warfare such as trench warfare and vehicle assaults, as they use their large numbers and skills in combat to overwhelm the enemy. They also flank and go behind enemy lines to hit them from the back, being able to keep the enemy occupied on two fronts. Overall, they are a very aggressive and very skilled unit of troopers, whom you definitely do not want to face alone on the battlefield. With that, let's move on to the Shoretroopers. The Coastal Defence Troopers or Shoretroopers are troopers that are suited for coastal, tropical and humid environments. They were established as a part of the Imperial Trooper Corps when the top secret Imperial security complex was constructed on the planet of Scarif. Scarif is the origin point for the Shoretroopers' presence within the Empire, and since its destruction at the hand of the Death Star, they have had no choice but to take up post in other Imperial ships and complexes throughout the galaxy. The Shoretrooper utilises similar tactics to Stormtroopers and other basic infantry units within the Imperial Army, as some also act as squad sergeants or officers for the normal Stormtroopers who serve under them. The Shoretroopers are scarce, as there are not many planets with similar conditions to Scarif. Shoretroopers of course patrol and fight on the beaches and shallow waters of the planet, as well as within the dense bushes and shrubbery and occasional jungle that can be found there. This ability for Shoretroopers to be adept within this environment is down to their armour, which is slightly different from typical base infantry units like Stormtroopers or Scout Troopers. The armour they wear is similar stylistically to tank troopers and Imperial officers' battle armour, but it has the same functionality as a Stormtrooper armour, so it is a hybrid of all those, which create an armour which is suited for warm and tropical climates of the planet Scarif and other planets like it. The armour is sand coloured with a mix of blue, red, black, white and brown thrown in. It is unique and recognisable and shows to others within the Empire that a person who is wearing the armour is or was stationed on Scarif. In terms of functionality and protection, it comes with a chest piece, shoulder guards, arm guards, hand guards, torso piece, belt, shin guards and a helmet, with no upper leg protection, leaving them quite exposed in that area, as the suit utilises fabric in a similar way to Scout Trooper armour. They have an environmental controller behind their chest piece which allows them to adjust the temperature inside the armour to keep the wearer comfortable. This is especially important on Scarif, as it does tend to get quite hot and no one wants to end up getting a heat stroke, do they now? The helmet comes equipped with night vision, motion detectors, polarization, air filtration system, built-in display and diagnostics showing suit and wearer condition as well as exterior environmental conditions, long-range communication radio, HUD and display, and last but not least a connection to the HoloNet. They also wear a black undersuit for extra protection and stocky trousers to keep them comfortable, which allow for a great range of motion that is normally not seen in Imperial troopers, so they can run and fight if they wish. They utilise overwhelming assaults and similar battle tactics to your average Stormtrooper, but some Shoretroopers, as mentioned before, are sergeants of squads and can utilise those squads effectively to flank enemies, overwhelm them, keep low in the bushes, use vehicular support, snipe from far distances, patrol, defend and attack enemy bases and so on. Overall, Shoretroopers are versatile and suitable members of the Imperial Army, which are suited for their environment, and definitely have ground-based defences that prove tricky for any rebel trying to break through them, as they know how to strategise and work together towards a common goal, and that is defending Scarif, or at least what's left of it. So let's talk about the weapons that these two troopers wield. The weapons wielded by the Swamp Troopers range from the SX-21 pump-action scatter blaster, E-10 blaster rifle, E-11 blaster rifle, E-22 blaster rifle, DLT-19 heavy blaster rifle, and AC-17 holdout blaster. The Shoretroopers use an E-11 blaster rifle, an upgraded E-22 blaster rifle, and a thermal imploder. The range of weapons that these two troopers use definitely varies, with the Swamp Trooper having a more diverse arsenal than the Shoretrooper. There may be a major difference in weapon variation and numbers between the two, but that does not mean either have a disadvantage when it comes to how each trooper uses these weapons, as the Swamp Troopers will be more suited for fast-paced, intense action with minimal defensive tactics, where Shoretroopers will be more slow, methodical or tactical, with more back-and-forth firefights between two or multiple fronts. The battlefields of Mimbins which the Swamp Troopers reside on is a very dangerous one, with plenty of fighting, explosions, blaster bolts and toxic environmental hazards. That is why Swamp Troopers must be battle-hardened and willing to face the horrors of war. In stark contrast, of course, Scarif is a tropical and calm environment, well, before the Death Star, but continuing on, Shoretroopers can patrol about and keep the complex hidden and protected from intruders and outsiders in the humid environments of the planet, and use the base as a training ground for new troopers by leading squads on reconnaissance missions and so on. Overall, these are two variations of troopers that serve the Empire well, and will do so for the foreseeable future. They both have great combat capabilities, as well as armour and weapons that serve them well, and they will sure give any rebel who decides to take them on a hard time. These troopers are a welcome part of the Imperial Trooper Corps, and serve the Emperor well for as long as the Galactic Empire exists.